For what purpose, gentleman from California, rise?
Mr. Chairman, to strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. I strongly object to this bill. In his inaugural address, Franklin Delano Roosevelt laid out, I think, a very good test for us. It was a test for this nation at one of its most desperate periods. We too find ourselves in a difficult situation. We do have a big deficit, and we need to make some tough choices. And today, as we debate this piece of legislation, we are indeed making choices, and we are being tested. We're being tested about our values. We're being tested about what we think is important. Franklin Delano Roosevelt suggested this be the test. The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little. Ponder those words and apply those words to what we are debating and what we will soon vote for or against on this floor. The test of our progress. Add more to the abundance of those who have much. We've discussed many times here in the last couple of hours the options that are given to us on tax policy, continuing to provide subsidies to the wealthiest industry in the world, the oil industry, not to the tune of a couple of billion, but when you add it all up, some 40 billion a year. Whether we continue to provide a tax break to the wealthiest in this nation, those whose annual incomes are in the millions, and indeed some who are even in the billions. We're making choices and we're being tested. One option that our Republican colleagues seem to want to present to us. The other option is what we on the Democratic side have been debating and asking for, and that is the second part of what Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, and that is whether we provide enough for those who have too little. I was on this floor not more than 3 hours ago with my granddaughter, 11 months old, and in the arms of mothers and grandfathers and grandmothers and parents across this nation are children of that age who depend upon women, infants, and children's program, which this Republican appropriation brought to this floor reduces by 10%. 350,000 children will not be able to have the food that they need, the care that they need to be able to be healthy, to be able to grow, and indeed in the future to be able to pay, as we will today, one way or another, for the deficit that we have. A 10% reduction from last year. And is there anybody in this House that's prepared to argue that somehow things are better out there and that a 10% reduction, in the face of increased number of women and children who need help, that is a worthy choice for us to make? I think not. I think that this bill miserably fails the test that Franklin Delano Roosevelt laid out during the Great Depression. This does not provide for those who have too little. And it's not just in the infant and children program. Across the board, thousands, indeed 480,000 or so Americans 48 million Americans become ill each year because of food-borne illnesses. And yet in this budget, another 12% reduction from last year's funding for food safety programs at a time when we have a new food safety program to implement. 350,000 Americans wind up in the hospital as a result of food-borne illnesses. And the Republicans want to cut the money to provide the protection for Americans. It's about choices. It's about values. What do you value in this system? Yes, we have a deficit. Yes, we must deal with it. And yes, according to our Republican friends, we must take that food out of the children's mouths. We must make sure that people will not be able to be healthy. I don't understand.
Time of the gentleman has expired. For what purpose?